Time we have ActionSA's reaction to this. The Chief Whip Athol Trollip joins me live now. Mr. Trollip, apologies for making you wait as well, but of course you can imagine that a very significant and important issue at play here with the Finance Minister reneging on that VAT increase. What does this mean for your party? Does it make you look bad ultimately because you sided with them on the basis that they would find other alternatives anyway?
Look, I'm really astounded at what you've just said. I've been listening to your guest before me, who's now claiming victory. It's amazing that success has many parents and failure has none. What the DA is now displaying is a real Leviathan kind of spirit, because there's an analogy that says you can attract flies with honey or vinegar. And now that the parties that applied the vinegar application are seeing that the parties that use the honey are attracting more attention, they're now trying to claim success and victory. I will remind you that it was ActionSA that has come under the most incredible pressure for the last month after we said that we will pass the fiscal framework, which the DA now incidentally says they're happy to do. We said we would pass the fiscal framework on condition that our recommendations be implemented. And those recommendations are that we go back and interact with Treasury and the Finance Minister to find alternatives to increasing VAT. We have done that systematically over the last month. We have engaged with all of the people involved, the ANC, Treasury, the Finance Minister. We've come up with proposals. The Minister has accepted those. We've had meetings, we've had interactions, we've released press statements. So there's a paper trail for the last month of what we've actually done. And you know, South Africans are always at their very best when they're working together and cooperating. And they're at their very worst when they're fighting against each other and litigating and finger pointing and criticizing. And this is just yet another example of a political party in South Africa that has chosen from the beginning of this new dispensation to say that we will be a critical but a constructive opposition. And we have been just that. We've been constructive. We have gone to the trenches to find a solution, not to the courts. We went to the trenches to find a solution to prevent poor people having to pay VAT. So I don't understand what your introduction was. We are delighted that we were the party that stuck our necks out in the Finance Committee. We were called ignorant. We were called stupid. We were called quaint. Now all of a sudden everyone's claiming victory.
For one must be fair though, that the reason why those questions and those allegations and all those words perhaps were put forward was because you sided with a party that still went ahead and implemented VAT, even though at the end goal was to try and find other alternatives. People perhaps just didn't want VAT to be in place to begin with and then find a solution later. They wanted people wanted you and Parliament to ultimately find a solution now before ultimately implementing it. Is that not the issue at play?
We have done just that, actually. If you really are magnanimous and honest with yourself, we have done just that. We started this fight way back. We didn't start it in court on Tuesday. We started it in the Fiscal Framework Committee meeting in the Standing Committee of Finance. We came up with an alternative. We were the party that said there is a resolution to this impasse, an impasse that arose in the GNU, where main parties in the GNU could not find themselves and they could not come up with a budget on their own after 9 months of government. Now, really, can you just open your heart a little bit and say, well done, you guys chose another path. We chose honey, not vinegar. And you know what? There will be no VAT, thanks to ActionSA's initiatives, not the DA's or anyone else's. ActionSA collaborated and cooperated and came up with alternatives. That's what South Africans.
Everybody is going to want to take let's call it, the responsibility and accountability of that not being in place now. And that becomes the key question marks that I think a lot of people are going to answer. There is one big question at play, though. And it's, according to Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, 75 billion over the medium term. How then, what was the proposal that the ActionSA had put forward in plugging that hole?
You know, I want to go back to your laughing and saying everyone wants to claim it. It's true. Everyone will want to claim this victory. But the party that stuck its neck out and was vilified for the last month, you're now suddenly saying that credit must belong to someone else. We have found a minimum of 100 billion rand to plug this year's 13.5 billion VAT shortage. We believe that we can collect 100 billion rand minimum each year over the next 3 years to fill what the finance minister says will be 100 billion rand shortfall. We have tabled all our proposals. It's been a long month of doing the hard work, the slog, coming up with alternatives. We did that, and we're proud of that because we are a constructive opposition in the South African Parliament, and we have proved that you can be effective in opposition, and we have also seen that a GNU that cannot work together puts South Africa in this position that we've been in.
So this confirms then, and I'm going to do exactly what I did with the previous guest, then, Karabo Kakao from the Democratic Alliance, and trying to get a firm response, if possible, then, just to help our viewers at home. Does this mean that right after this statement has been put forward, there will be no VAT? Can you say categorically that there will be no VAT on the 1st of May?
It's not up to me to say categorically that there will be no VAT. The minister has said that categorically. And what you also don't understand, and what the public of South Africa need to understand, that under the current legislation, that when the minister announces in his budget speech that there will be a VAT increase, that is it. Nobody can do anything else about that other than the minister himself. The minister now says he's going to rescind that decision based on the information given to him by political parties that were negotiating with him and his treasury and everyone else and the South African Revenue Services. He's made that announcement. Arabile, the question is how this is going to be done is where the detail is, and there's a press conference at 10 o'clock where that will be discussed, and I don't want to preempt that. But this has never been done before. This is completely new territory, and we will negotiate that territory like we have negotiated the proposed increase in VAT and now have it rescinded. So we believe that if you cooperate and collaborate and work together and put South Africans first, you can achieve amazing things.
I think this is why I became a journalist, because I don't understand. And I'm here to ask the question. So Athol Trollip, I appreciate the time. I appreciate your candor as well. We certainly will be looking for the answers because the devil is in the details. And those details are going to be very important for South Africans between the 24th of April today and the 1st of May. They don't want VAT.